Well, hello. Looks like I'm live. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to 21 Accents Introduction to Voiceover. My name is Ian M. Walker, and I'm here to, thanks Amy, I'm here to give you some tips on starting out in voiceover. And hopefully that's what you're here for, because that's what you're going to get. All right, I do have a sort of a list, but today is short, and I just want to touch on maybe 2 or 3 of the important ones. But of course, if you do have any questions, pop them in there. In fact, let me put my old man glasses on. Let's make sure I can read your questions. There we go. Old man glasses. Although I am sort of proud that I didn't, that it wasn't until 51 that I needed them. But there you go. All right, so the very first thing, very important, is warm-up. Your instrument, your voice, it's your instrument after all, needs to be warmed up if you're going to be public speaking, and certainly if you're going to be recording yourself. So, believe it or not, the warm-up video that I warm up to is from our very own Amy Walker. And I'm just realizing from the glare on my glasses that maybe this light is too much. Is that better? Hopefully. Sorry about that. This is my first time after all. Yes, so the warm-up video I use is from Amy Walker. It's one of her most popular videos, and for good reason, because it's excellent. And I pretty much know it off by heart now, but I still watch it before every recording session. Because, you know, I feel like it grounds me and it prepares me. And also, since I adore Amy, it feels like I'm getting her advice all the time. So I'm going to put a few links in the bottom after we're done. I'm not going to put them there now because obviously I want you to focus on me. So on me hitting my headphone cord. So I'll put the links in the bottom. There'll be definitely, the first link will be to Amy's warm-up. But what you might be surprised to learn when you look at the warm-up is that it's not just tongue twisters, which she does have a few of, some fun ones, such as she brewed a proper, I can't even do it now, and I just did it. She brewed a proper cup of coffee in a copper coffee pot. I can actually do that very fast usually, but not when you're all watching. So the surprising part that I was getting to before I rambled off into making coffee is that you put your whole body into it. That you're doing stretches, you're doing hanging down, letting everything loose, you're calming stress off your body. And the reason this is important, not just to get you relaxed before you do anything really. For me personally, not everyone will agree with this, but for me personally, when I'm doing my voices, my character voices, and especially if it's a dramatic or energetic scene, I'm always standing up. My microphone's right here, so pretty much have to be. But I like to stand up because I like to put my whole body into it. I'm going to give you 2 exercises today. The first one will be start observing your body. When we're face-to-face with people or being recorded like right now, we're doing all kinds of things. We're not just communicating with the voice. We're using our body language. You'll find, I mean, the reason it's called sometimes voice acting is because you are acting a character. You're personifying that character. And for my latest book, where I had to do lots of dog voices, believe it or not, I was getting into some sort of doggy poses. And for one of them was a big bulldog. I really felt like I had big jowls to make the voice all jowly like this. And it's so important, I think, to get your whole body into it. You'll start, even if you don't think about it, if you're standing up, you'll start realizing that you're making movements that go along with that character. So the first exercise I'm going to leave you with after today is to start observing yourself. Start observing your body language when you're communicating or recording yourself like this or doing anything. Start looking at how much you put into it physically rather than just through your voice. Now, of course, the voice is the main goal here. And that is our instrument, as I said. That's what we call it. Sorry. super jolly and authentic. Thanks, Amy. My first comments. And now she's throwing me off because I've got super jolly. So as I was saying, watch yourself as you're communicating with people. Now, so the aim is to make your voice authentic, to make your voice personify whatever you're reading, whatever you're trying to convey. Personally, my own journey so far has been through audiobooks. I've put out 4 proper audiobooks, a few guides. I've also done some voices for computer games, including orc voices and orc singing, which was fun. Speaking of the physicality of it, I actually put a couple of probably too large plastic balls into my cheeks to stretch them out like this so I could speak like I had the tusks that orcs are usually known for. You see? So there's definitely physicality in the voice. The aim, the goal, the main goal is to be believed. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're conveying with that voice, you want it to sound sincere and believable. Here's a preview. If you're too much in your head about what you're trying to convey, it's likely not going to be believed. So you really want to try and get into the space of whatever character or whatever narration you're conveying. I actually put a video out on my YouTube a couple of years ago for one of the characters that I'm portraying in a range of books. Actually, I'm working on the 3rd in the series right now, and he's the oldest living vampire. I thought it would be interesting for people to see Gon, is the character name, as himself, talking about his books / audiobooks. So I had a wig, I had white makeup because even I wasn't white enough for this guy, and what else? Oh, and the beard that he's known for and mustache, and it was interesting, and it did actually, even though it was fun and I was just doing it for the sort of promotion, it did actually get me into his headspace. And every time I do him, even though he's the one who comes very easily to me now, every time I do him, I am sort of imagining myself like him. Okay, so what else? These days, a little bit to what I just said, these days voices are, that people are wanting them to be authentic. Gone are the days where they're over dramatic, or the broadcaster or a game show host voice. I mean, sometimes obviously that will be called for, but generally speaking, now people want you just to have a conversation, just to sound completely authentic. So the last thing I'll say about the voice, and no, actually, I'm not going to mention that second part. It's going to be your second exercise later. But the last thing I'll say about the voice is you need to learn how to emote with your voice, because that's all we have. No matter what you're doing in the studio, no matter how you're dressed, or no matter how much you're putting the body into it, all the end the listener is going to have is your voice. So your voice, you need to learn how to emote with it to convey whatever the scene is. Okay. Speaking of the instrument, not the voice, but your instrument, it needs to be moisturized, basically. It needs to be ready. So part of what we were doing with Amy's warm-up was some tongue twisters and rolling and rather strange expressions, which I'm not going to do now, sorry. You can go watch Amy do that. She's much better at it. But you also need to make sure you are properly hydrated. I've always got water. Oh, and things like this. This is a mouth spray that I quite like from Biotine. It's a moisturizing mouth spray. Which leads me to a little story, a little anecdote. And I might as well start talking about it now, that one of the big challenges you're going to face in your recording space, which is the next topic, is heat. Water is our friend for hydrating. Heat is our nemesis. Right now in here, I have 2 tiny little computer fans running and blowing on me. I can barely feel them, but anything more than that, and in fact, I'm only using them right now because I'm only on YouTube. If I was recording properly, I wouldn't even be able to use those because my microphone is so sensitive, it would pick them up. Oh, thanks, Johnny. The water needs to be room temperature or even warm. Some people prefer tea, but do not use ice cold water. The aim of the hydration is to get your voice and voice box relaxed, not tightened up. But the anecdote I was going to share, speaking of heat, and after I showed you the mouth spray, a few of the things I've learned and tried for trying to stay cool in here. One of them I quite like still is standing on blocks of ice. I have these ice pack things that I sometimes stand on through a towel, a tea towel. But I also have these space age wearables. They are a headband and wristbands, and then a towel around your neck. And at the same time that I got those, you soak them in some cool water and then you wear them, and they do actually help for a while. But at the same time I got those, I heard about a hot flash spray, hot flash relief spray. This is to help ladies who are at that point in their lives where they might be getting hot flashes. And so I invested in the tube, and then, well, can you imagine what happened? I had them both on the same shelf. Yep. Instead of spraying my neck and my pressure points with this one, I thought it was my mouth spray and sprayed it into my mouth. Be careful with your sprays. That was not fun. I also use this too, some lip balm. Because one of the things that we all do every single day, and once you're working in voice, you'll start to hear this, is mouth noise. Hopefully you're not hearing it too much from me now. After a warm-up, it's usually reduced, but you're going to hear lip smacks. You're going to hear kind of a tap noise from when your mouth hits the roof of your mouth. Your tongue hits the roof of your mouth even. How can your mouth hit the roof of your mouth? You know what I meant. You'll hear these noises. After I started getting used to hearing these things in my own recordings, I was hearing them everywhere. Even a speech by President Obama. And that's when I knew I was doomed. From then on, I was going to hear everybody clicking at me, mouth clicking at me, and they do. So be aware of that. You click. We all do it. We just don't usually hear it or pay attention. But part of the warm-up is to reduce that. And part of your editing afterwards is to reduce or eliminate that. Okay, now the second exercise I want to give you. You need to start getting used to how you sound. Yep, most people are going to say, that can't be me, or I don't like the sound of my own voice. Sure, we all said that, because when you hear it recorded, that's how other people are hearing it. It's not how you hear it, because it's resonating in your head. And we currently don't have the technology to replicate that. So yes, you have to get used to liking your voice. If you don't like your voice, you're probably going to have a hard time doing voice work. So before you invest in any equipment, I want you to start recording yourself, even if it's into your phone, even if it's into a webcam like this, just start recording yourself. And that's the exercise I'm going to give you today. Either pick a short passage about yourself, or even look up a short script online. They're everywhere. There are resources for scripts, and record yourself, listen back to it, do this a few times. And then as you get more comfortable hearing yourself and getting used to how you sound to others, which isn't going to be awful, believe me, then start playing with it. Start exercising how you can alter your voice, the things you can do with your voice. Learn what you can do with your voice. For me, accents has been a bit of a challenge. I have peers who, well, Amy herself, of course, who can do accents like a chameleon. For me, what I realize, it's, even though I didn't think this at the start of my journey, is it seems to be character voices that I'm doing, because all of my books so far have included or been only character voices. I've done zombie voices, which at first when I started trying to do that, actually hurt my throat until I learned how to do it without hurting myself. There was a cigarette commercial where there was an unfortunate lady who had a hole in her throat, and that's what I started to emulate, starting to sound rough and dry, which now I am. And like I say at first, so the exercise is to start playing with your voice, start learning what you can do without bringing tears to your eyes. I should have warmed up more for that one. Look, you've got me crying. This is how serious I'm taking this. No, all my dog voices, yes. Yes. Thanks, Amy. The dog pound chapter in Someone to Look Up To. Yeah, that was actually quite hard to do. It was a sad chapter. What else? Oh, so obviously the Gone, the Ancient Living Vampire. I've done him now for 2 books, working on the 3rd. And in Someone to Look Up To, various dog voices. Including, I did throw in one accent, and that's the accent of where I grew up, which I never really had. Never really had the Scouse accent, which is from Liverpool and Wallasey, Merseyside, around there. I never really had that because, I don't know, I grew up in Wallasey, which is right across the river from Liverpool. And also I had a big influence from my nan. She always pushed me to excel at speaking well and doing well at English. So I never really did have that accent. And in fact, just a couple of years ago when I saw an audition for a Northern accent, I thought, I wonder if I can even do that accent, because I never had. And I mean, obviously that a Scouser would tell you that wasn't the best imitation, but I found I had it in me because I've got family members and lots of friends from back there and schoolmates who sound like that. So yes, the exercise, and feel free to let me know how you do with both of the exercises, in fact, is to start playing with your voice. Have fun with it. Learn what you can do. Over time, you'll strengthen it. You'll learn new things, new tools for your instrument. Okay, so the space, we touched on it briefly, but the space is probably more important even than the equipment that you will eventually need to purchase if you become serious about pursuing this. I am fortunate enough to have this large closet. So eventually, with the help of people buying me birthday presents, these Oralex foam tiles, and then this one I just threw up over the door when I realized that even the door needs some sound treatment. I managed to treat the whole room, and it's actually called sound treatment, not soundproofing, because that's a completely different thing and probably a lot more expensive. But what the aim here is to stop the voice echoing off flat surfaces. So all these ridges, the egg-shaped pattern on here, the ridges on the tiles, they and even this room still needs some bass traps, they're called. The goal is to trap your voice rather than reflecting it and making it sound odd. So the space is very important, but you may not have a closet this big or one that you can use just for this. So seriously, you can start with just, and this is probably where the heat will come into it even more, but you could start with just throwing coats or blankets over yourself to make this small, quiet space where nothing's going to bounce and reflect, and record there. And then, of course, well, hopefully, over time, you'll work up to a better space. In fact, there are actually now some mobile spaces you can buy, canvas, almost like a tent, that they just quickly pop up, and you could move around with those. Or if that's all you've got, you use that to start with. I'll try and remember to put a link for that too, because I only just remembered those. I am going to put a link, now that we're about to talk about equipment. I am going to talk about, I am going to put a link to a company called Sweetwater, which I've come to learn through my ACX group, which is the group. ACX is part of, Amazon owns Audible owns ACX, and we work for ACX if we're doing audiobooks, which is mostly what I've been doing so far, which is a fantastic introduction to this world. Excuse me, because it's very varied. You get to do all sorts of, like I just said, character voices, and you're working for yourself, with usually just you and the author as a directing you. You're working in your own time and your own space. So it's a great introduction. But eventually I want to do some more computer game voices because I'm a gaming geek and have been along for a long time. Excuse me. So Sweetwater is a company I came to know through the ACX support group on Facebook, which have been very helpful in my journey so far. And they usually have wow, the bane of a voice artist, losing his voice. They usually have very good deals, and they're very, very helpful. That's mainly why I'm going to refer you to them, because they're very helpful. They'll work with you to get what you need within your budget. Excuse me. And equipment, everyone's going to be talking about, well, what microphone do I use or need? I would rather not recommend a particular one. I'll say I do have a Rode microphone here, but it took me a while to be able to get that. It's not the one you're likely to start with unless you have a lot of disposable income. What I would say is USB microphones, they've come a long way, and they're usually a lot cheaper than non-USB, the compressor microphones, as they're called. My first ever one was a snowball, a Yeti snowball. It's actually in a ball shape. The second one was this, the AT 2020, and they're very good, but they do not match the vibrance and the depth and the warmth of a compressor mic. This is going to get as close as possible to how you sound to other people, and they're also very sensitive, and they're better in mine and many of my peers' opinions. Headphones are very important too. People often overlook this, but get yourself some good headphones, because the end product is likely to be listened to by people with all sorts of equipment, but very often with very good microphones. If you're not hearing yourself through microphones, you're not going to be hearing yourself as they will, and you're not going to be picking up on things that you would have preferred to not leave in. Why do you have headphones on? Mainly just to show how I would be in here, Johnny. Thank you for the question, and to illustrate that they are necessary. But you're right, I don't really need them right now. So there you go. Thanks, Johnny. But speaking of what you're wearing in the booth, I mentioned heat, and as you can see, it's already affected me. I put this nice, well, I hope it's nice shirt on for you lot today, for y'all. I love that Americanism, y'all. But usually you're going to find yourself wearing very little. Yes, I do have shorts on, but you can't see them. So yes, the heat is going to be an issue, and you'll probably have, that's another benefit of working for yourself and working from home. Your dress code is up to you. It can be as comfortable and as casual as you like. Now I'm at the point where I would like to say, well, I have a few more tips, and I could go a lot further to talk about how you seek jobs, demo reels, editing. But we are already over the time for, are we? No, we're not. Yikes, so maybe I should speak about those. But anyway, I'm at the point where I'm going to ask you for your questions. Is there anything you'd like me to cover in our last few minutes? And then, of course, you will be, after this webinar, you'll be able to book me through 21 Accents if you'd like to go more in depth onto any of these points and more tips that I've learned in my journey so far. Because it is a journey, of course. None of us usually stop learning. None of us usually get to the point where we think we know it all and we're done and we're good. We'll always learn new techniques. We'll always learn new tips. We'll maybe get better equipment. So it's a journey. And okay, two more things I need to say about that journey. One is your self-confidence. I have certainly taken some knocks with my self-confidence along the way. Life happens. Challenges happen to all of us. And sometimes one can let those impact being creative. And that's what I've certainly found. And today, just for doing this, I was extremely nervous. I've never done a live webinar before. And what I realized is when you are nervous about doing something, I think that means you actually care about doing it. If you didn't care, you wouldn't care. You wouldn't be nervous. If you're nervous, I think it shows that your heart is in it. You care about it deeply, and you want to convey your truth or help people in whatever you're doing, which for me today is trying to help people, because we get so many questions about this. So don't be surprised or afraid of the fact that your confidence may be shaken. When you have submitted a ton of auditions and you don't hear back from anybody because they don't usually take the time to say no, that might shake your confidence. Some new challenges like this lockdown, financial, that might shake your confidence. But just keep doing it. Just keep at it. Keep learning. You may take a little time off, of course, if that's what you think you need. But even then, I would say keep using your voice. Keep strengthening it. Keep playing with it. Keep having fun with it. And then come and do it like I'm doing today. And hopefully not boring you all to death. Another question. Is that big thing in front of you to the left, your mic? Oh, very good, actually. Thank you. No, this is a mud guard, it's called. It's also from Oralex, the company that made all these tiles. I can't show it to you, but because it's affixed to my shelf here. But it's basically these tiles, but in a curved shape, and it goes right behind your microphone. And it's just an additional help. Thank you, Auntie Jeanette, by the way, for this, for her birthday. It's just more help to keep the sound here and stop it reflecting everywhere. I think it was a little bit pricey, but it's really good, especially if, like me, right behind here, this room is the kitchen, and I have had refrigerator noises come through. I actually put some sound treatment on the wall behind that fridge to try and reduce that, but this also helps. And this that you might see a little bit of is a pop filter, and that goes in front of your microphone. Here, sorry, another tip then. This is how you usually measure where you need to be in regard to your microphone. You measure it with your hands like that, and your pop filter can be as close to your mouth as you want, or certainly it should be between your mouth and the microphone. And this is to stop the odd noises you can get from plosives, they're called, the P, D, letters like that. For real. Oh, wow. Does that mean I'm finished? Good job. Thank you so much. There was one other thing though. Oh, finally, I would say after you start recording yourself for the exercise you're definitely going to do, right? You need to start thinking, why am I doing this? Why do I want to get into this? Is it because you've been told that it's easy to make money out of? Because that's not true. Is it because you just need a change of your job? Or is it because, like in my case, you went along to a studio who let you hear your voice in a professional environment for the very first time, and it lit a fire in your belly? Creativity usually comes from that sort of place, something you feel passionate about, something I never felt for the many, many years I spent in corporate IT. I was good at it. I earned good money, and probably just would have gone on doing it forever if I hadn't hit a point where I said, I need to do something different with my life. I need to put something out there. In fact, that wasn't even the start. The start was, I need to not be just going and helping corporations become even richer every day. And so I looked around, and I like I say, I saw this. It was a voice assessment. I went along, heard myself, played with it a little bit, and it lit a fire in my belly. And I realized that I actually love the idea of putting things out into the world that I've been a part of, that I've created. Because don't ever forget, you are creating. It's somebody else's words, usually, of course, but you're the voice. This is your creation, and that's going to be out there in the world. Just like authors usually say that their books are their children, maybe you'll feel quite attached to the voices you've created for these projects. More questions. Back with the old man glasses. Oh, no, just another compliment. Thank you so much, Amy. Oh, hi, Peter. Thank you. Well, yes, we are almost at the point, but if you have any more questions, please pop them in now. By the way, do you like the lockdown haircut that I did for you guys? It took about 2 hours and 2 different charges of the clippers, but Okay, I'll throw one last tip out for you, because if you get past the point of learning your voice and you actually want to start recording, another very important part of the equipment, of course, is what you'll record into. And I would absolutely recommend Audacity. It's open source, which means it's free, and the team behind it, that team and that Facebook group and the forum group, they have helped me more than anybody on this journey. I think I still hold the record, in fact, on the forums for the longest or most engaged thread, because I really detailed my journey so far, some of the challenges I was facing and the help I needed. And they're like family. They're absolutely lovely. Some people say in the showbiz world, it can be quite cutthroat or not very friendly. I haven't found that in the voice world, which I have had to finally accept as part of the showbiz world. Yes, I haven't found that. I found that my peers help me, and I love helping them. If I find a job that I am not suitable for, and I think of somebody else, like my good friend Jeff Hayes, who's phenomenal, I'll pass it along. Hopefully they would do the same. So I think it's a welcoming and supportive environment and group of people. I hope you find that too, because once you get to that point where you know why you're doing this, you have some of the equipment, you are going to need help. We're always learning. So check out Audacity. I'll put a link, of course. I just heard myself click. Hope you didn't. And please give me final questions. We've got maybe 2 minutes. Thank you, Laurie. Oh, thank you, Edward. I really appreciate that, because this is my first one. And yeah, usually I can hide behind the camera and nobody sees me, behind the microphone and nobody sees me. So when I was persuaded to do this, yes, I became quite nervous. All right, if there are no further questions, or maybe there are. Oh, did I miss one? With a cut. Thank you, John. I don't think this is that sort of show, but I appreciate the sentiment. He was asking how he could give me a cash tip. Thank you so much. Well, I'm going to wrap up then. That's true. You could do that if you really want to. I certainly would help in these times where we're all being challenged. So after today, you'll be able to see on our 21 Accents website that you'll be able to book me for private sessions where we can go more into depth, where I'll start hearing you, because it'll be one-on-one rather than just me sweating at you. And I can hopefully help you on the journey, and you'll probably end up helping me, because I'm not the be-all and end-all. I'm no expert. I'm just trying to tell you what I've found along the way so far. So I think it'll be reciprocal, that you'll help me and keep us motivated too, which is another challenge. Oh, there is? There's usually a cash button to tip. I don't know. Don't know why there isn't, but I didn't think of that. Thank you very much. Yes, so thanks, Amy. Mention this webinar for a discount, not only with my sessions, but also I would be happy to give you a discount on the 21 Accents Standard American Accent course. It's our bestseller, basically. It's we just realized this the other day. We have thousands of students using our course. I will give you a personal Ian M. Walker discount code if you mention this webinar, if you are wanting to learn the Standard American Accent. And of course, if you want to reduce your own accent or learn any other accent, because we never talk about removing your accent. We don't like to talk about that. We prefer to talk about adding to. So we'll add to your toolbox of accents. Well, I say we, it won't be me. It'll be the professional coaches who are amazing at accents. We'll add to your palette or toolbox, and then you'll be free to use whatever accent you choose. Because some people do actually come to us and say, I need to get rid of my accent. And I think that's a bit sad. I don't think there's any accent that should be scorned or felt so little about that people want to get rid of it entirely. But who am I to say? All right, well, thank you so much for tuning in, watching me sweat at you and be nervous at you. I do appreciate it. Maybe I'll do another one of these, but in the meantime, I hope to see some of you book me for private sessions, and we'll get to talking with our voices, with our instruments. Take care, stay safe, keep yourself distant from everybody, and that's it. Love to all of you. Bye.